G'day, guys. It is your friendly neighborhood coach here. Welcome to Coffee Hangout. Just grabbing my coffee. It's just past lunchtime here in Sydney on Saturday, and it is Gargant release day. So if you are joining us, hello, welcome. Nice to have you here. I'll be here for the next hour or so. We're going to build a Gargant. I'm going to start looking through this box. If you have any questions about the Gargants, I do have my battle tome as well, or if you just want to chat, if you want to ask a question about either the community, any releases, any advice, maybe anything that you want to discuss, this is the time for us just to casually catch up, chat, hang out, share some thoughts, share some experiences, whatever you guys want to do. I'm here to hang out. So I'll be working with the Gargant. Love you to tell me what you're working on in the chat as well. Always interested to see what you guys are up to and what you're building, whether it's Lumineth, whether it's something exciting like the Gits, maybe you're doing cities, maybe you're doing OBR, who knows what you're doing, but either way, it's nice to have you. So yeah, I'll be working. I picked this up this morning. Very excited to pick up my Gargant. I might have picked up two between you and I. And I think this one I'm going to build I think the Kraken. I think I'm going to work on the Kraken. That's probably the one that I'm thinking the most out of the three tribes. We do have a couple of options. You've got the Taker tribe, which is probably for me the objective-based one. Probably don't want to play the damage game. I think the damage game might be a bit of a trap just on how much output this army does. But I think for me, Taker is where I'm going to start my journey. Hello, everyone. I can see I've got Phil in the house. G'day, Phil. I've got Ricky. Hello, Ricky. Party time. Pants party indeed, Michael. Hey, Michael. Don't drink too much coffee before you go to bed, mate. G'day, Dustin. Hello. Harry, what's up? Geez, that takes me back. What's up? What do we got here? You got Chapstick is sitting here assembling a stack of the Boingrot Bounders. That is what I tried to do last Hobby Hangout. And I was talking to Clint Mallet from the Heralds of War, and we're talking about Hobby Hangouts. I'm like, yeah, last time I did one, I had all these aspirational goals of working on my Gits. I think I might have painted some teeth on the squigs and maybe a couple of lips. Didn't get a lot done, but you guys are going to keep me entertained and interested. I'm going to be obviously working on this Gargant here. Ricky is working on the last of 10 Witch Elves, which makes me wonder, how many Witch Elves do you currently have, Ricky? And are you excited about the new battle box with your Medusae and Snake Ladies that's eventually coming? I wonder if we're going to see that actually tonight in the release. I know the Warhammer previews tonight is a bit more focused on box games, which I imagine is going to be more like 3rd edition of Blood Bowl or 4th edition. Oh, what did you know up to? I think it's 4th edition now. I imagine it's going to be Blood Bowl, probably the next season of Underworlds, maybe some Warcry, maybe a new box. We don't know. It seems very box driven as opposed to Sigmar or 40k. So, but who knows? Who knows? We might see a sneak peek. G'day, Jay. Michael's working on some endless spells. Very nice indeed. Requiem, hey. That's yeah, we do have a cool Discord. I'm always talking about it. It is in it is if you are interested in Discord, or you don't know what Discord is, Discord's I guess a little digital forum, and there's about 700 of us Age of Sigmar players in my Discord. It's a little app on your phone or on your computer. But if you are interested in chatting with us, sharing pictures, having fun, messing about, playing games, I know we play Age of Sigmar online. Hell, there's even people who play is it Among Us? That seems to be the cool thing that's happening right now. Although a few people have been playing Squadron in my Discord. I don't know what the deal is with Squadron, but either way, please link below. There's the link to the Discord. G'day, Jeff. Of course, you've got a Chimera. Beasts of Chaos represent 40 Witch Elves from Ricky, which is pretty sweet. I think the new hero is going to be awesome. I hope it really unlocks the power of the Medusae. I'd love to see a bit more diversity when it comes to Daughters of Cain. I think, I don't think I've ever seen an avatar of Kane on the table. So I think if we can encourage a little bit of diversity in some of these lists, I'm all for it. Phil's putting together a Glocken, which is pretty sweet. 7th edition Blood Bowl, 4th edition box set. Yes, sweet. Far out. I've still got Blood Bowl box season 2 and 3 and 4. No, I've got 3 so far. I've got 1, 2, and 3. I've got the foam board one above me. I've then got the cardboard, and then I've got the latest one. So lots of cool stuff happening. Working on your Night Vault Stormcast. Very nice. Varnishing. Working on some Blood Tooths. Sweet. So I should probably open this box. I don't know if you guys are interested in particular in the Gargants. I know there's been a lot of talk in the community about Gargants, whether it's good, bad, indifferent, whether they're going to be going 5-0 at the next tournament, whether they're going to be going 0-5, or somewhere in between, whether you thought they were going to do lots of damage. There's obviously been a lot of discussion about Gargants. So I'm going to open up my box. I'm very excited. And the reason I'm excited while I get the chat kind of fired up is because I think it's going to be a cool army. I think regardless if they're going to be a 5-0 army, an 0-5 army, the models are fantastic. I'm going to be running these competitively. I actually purchased my Gargant. So unlike some of the early releases from people, and you're wondering why I haven't put any content out despite being a massive Gargant fan, probably 2 things. First, I paid for it, so I couldn't pick it up until today, which is the release day. And second of all is that the FAQs and I know in the Discord this came up actually recently. One of the things that I do in my channel is I don't often talk about rules before the FAQ for the primary reason that things can change all the time. And a prime example is when we had the Khorne 3rd box come out. Khorne allowed you to have like some pretty cool stacking of abilities on the skull cannons. And then that got quickly changed 2 weeks later. And I know some people went crazy, bought a whole bunch of the skull cannons, and then quickly found out weeks later that combination didn't work. And if you go back to any of those content creators, I'm not naming names, but certainly some of those rules are wrong. So I try to avoid that as much as possible. And with Gargants, there's actually a 4-week delay. I don't know why it's going to be 4 weeks, probably 240k focused, but this is the box. It is a massive box. It's pretty deep. I'm not going to lie. I've actually already opened one up. This is my second one that I'm opening up, but it's a pretty cool box. You've got the 3 combinations here of your various builds. What's going on in the chat? Anyone know when the new Blood Bowl might be coming out? I can only imagine that it will be coming out before Christmas. So I imagine the next couple of weeks, I believe 40k is going to really dominate us over the next couple of weeks. And I would imagine by mid-November at the latest, you'll kind of have all the big releases because Mummy and Daddy want to put the Christmas list together and they'll want to have the Christmas products out. So there could be the battle box. So for anyone who's new to Age of Sigmar, they normally bring out a couple of big start collecting boxes, probably double the size, and they're not just 2 start collecting boxes combined. They'll often put in a really cool hero, maybe some big monsters. They'll do some things. So there's normally 4 of those a year, usually 1 for every Grand Alliance. They'll probably have that coming out as well. So we don't know what it is. Usually it's something that comes out 12 months ago. So there's probably a good chance the battle box could be Ogres, Cities of Sigmar, Iron Jaws, OBR, Seraphon and Zench, probably too early for them. But either way, there'll be some cool product coming out. Obviously, there's a Black Library book as well for Daughters of Cain coming in November. So I think save your pennies. November could be a big month. What's going on in the chat? Huge fan of the Objective Tribe. Yeah, take a tribe for me is that's the one where this particular Gargant here, which is a very, very cool Gargant, the Kraken Eater, has an ability to actually move an objective. So it actually can move it 2d6. And if you take the Gargant Tribe of Taker, it can also take an ability that will actually allow it to be 3d6. So being able to move an objective 3d6. So that means if you had a home objective, you could actually push it away from the enemy. If you had an opponent's objective, you could actually bring it closer to you. Now, there's some question marks around some of the way that the objectives are worded. We'll mention that, if the objective is sitting in your opponent's territory, it's worth 4 points, for example, while when it's only in yours, it's worth 1. Now, there's some questions going on right now in the community of if I was to move an objective, and let's say I move it from my territory to your territory, does the value then turn to 4, as an example? So that all of a sudden means that you can actually increase the value of your objectives, and these Gargants can count as either 20 models or 30 models. So it could be very, very hard to, I don't want to say they're hard to defeat, because they're not the best army in the world. They're not the shittest army in the world. They're somewhere in between, and that's good. The last thing I want is another Slaanesh, another Petrifix Elite. I think a nice balanced army that we're not going to get ruined. People aren't going to jump on the hype train. It is what it is. Very, very cool. How do I feel about the Gargant price point? I assume you're imagining talking about the dollary dues. And obviously, first off, I've bought 2, so I can't really complain. I think it's a challenge, and so I'm trying to think of how to best describe how I feel. So first off, Games Workshop, as we all know, is it's a premium hobby. So we kind of come into there knowing that we're going to expend a lot of money. And the cool thing as well is that the model sculpts have improved over time. And unlike a video game, I still have my models from 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 30 years ago. I have very few of my video games, my PS1, my N64, my Mega Drive, my Master System, my Game Boy. I have very few of those still. So when I think about the price point, I think it's a little bit challenging, a little bit hard to enter being a Gargant player. At the same time, I do wonder if this is going to be a bit of a lead in to any potential price rise. Now, I don't know if there's a price rise. I can only imagine in the current COVID economic times that margins are being compressed. Things are becoming more costly. Things are becoming more restrictive. And I think generally in the marketplace, not just Games Workshop, but your groceries, your electricity bills, your the cost to purchase clothes, I think generally that's going to increase just naturally, just because of the supply chain. And maybe the Gargant pricing is more of a predictive pricing for the future. So that's me putting on my economics hat for a second. Would I like it cheaper? Absolutely. Do I think that the models are worth it? Yeah. Are there options out there that if you don't want to buy this and you want to go find a big Gargant from Creature Caster, from some other company, and you don't play at Games Workshop very often, there's options as well. So it's an interesting one. It's I feel like there's only part of the story. But hey, I don't want to harp on price too much, just because it's out of our control as well. It is what it is. It's either you accept the pricing and you work with it, or you don't and you move along. And I think that's the reality. If you're unhappy with anything, you vote with your feet and you vote with your wallet. So I chose to vote with my wallet and I bought it. But I know a lot of people maybe they were going to buy 3, they're going to buy 2 now. Maybe they're going to buy 1, they're going to wait 6 months and see if there's a buy and sell, or maybe they'll go to a retailer that gives 20% off. And there's probably a lot more of those as well out there in the market. But good question. Using Gargant as a cool hobby project, yeah, absolutely. I think that's the cool thing is that people, and we already saw a community article this morning where 4 people from Games Workshop, Lauren, she did a really cool death version. It was kind of like had like 4 arms and had some pretty intricate additions of Magnus the Red from 40k, kind of making it very, I feel like it was very like Indian Hindi kind of like shiver a little bit. Very cool. So where is a good place to find list building for Mega Gargants? A couple of places. So Facehammer has shown off a couple of their lists. They're one of the play testers in UK. So they've shown off a couple of their lists on Facehammer's Facebook page. Plastic Crack, Peter down in Sydney. He's got a blog, not Sydney. He'll kill me about that. He's in Victoria. Peter from the Bendigo crew. He's been putting out a couple of articles about list building as well. So I would definitely check that out. Interesting article come out this morning or last night that the Forge World Gargant, the Bone Grinder Gargant, has now had a war scroll update. So you can now bring that in Sons of Behemat, but you can't take it in Gloomspite Gits. So it's added another Gargant. It's probably not that good. I wouldn't be taking it, but it has added another little bit of spice. What lists do I have in mind? I don't know. I have 2, maybe 3 big Gargants. So I've got 2 so far. I'm going to buy a third one probably next week or the week after. And I've got 7 small Gargants. So I'm either thinking I can either do 2 big Gargants and a couple of small Gargants, probably as one-man units, or I could do 3. So I've got a tournament coming up in mid-November, mid to late November. So I've got about 5 to 6 weeks to come up with a list. I might try the 3 big boys just because I can. But I think Taker Tribes right now is probably the place to be, playing the objective game. I've got in 2 weeks' time, I've got a one-dayer. So I usually play the first Sunday of every month at a local store, and I might play around with them as well. I'm probably going to take. I'll definitely take. My priority would be the Kraken. Then I think it's going to be the Gatebreaker, maybe the War Stomper, or if I don't take a War Stomper, it means then the small Gargants. So I just need to work out the points allocation. See how we go there. How many sprues are in there? There is, I guess, 3.5. So you've got this really big one. So you've got 1, you've got 2, you've got 3. And then you got this half one as well. So they're quite meaty sprues as well, and you get a lot of cool parts as well. So it's very cool. So if you build like the Gatebreaker, for example, there's a whole bunch of like the fishy parts and nets and some very, very cool pieces. So I really like it. Some say that tomorrow, since they're previewing the specialist games, I would definitely say that they'll preview it, and I would start imagining that Blood Bowl you'll start to see minimum early November. I think probably second week. I think they've got a lot of 40k to get out first. You saw that they've got a lot of codexes coming. So I think 40k will be the priority, and then kind of maybe week 3 of November, I think, is when you'll start seeing things like your specialist games and maybe even your battle force boxes for Sigmar. Which Gargant am I building? So right now, I'm just building the core. So when you get the book, when we go into the book, you have a couple of options, and you'll notice here that I'll do the picture a bit better. You'll notice that the core here is the same. So your torso, your legs, and then kind of like this abdomen area, that's core. And then from there, it's your arms, your heads, and your feet. That where the weapons and the differences come into play. So right now, all I've done is I've started clipping just that core, and then from there I can start building it out. Bought one for the Gits army because I love the Gatecrasher model. Curious to what people's thoughts are to which build might actually work best for Gits. I can only assume that you're working with Grots. I mean, first off, I think that, I mean, the Kraken, I come back to moving the objective, and I think the Kraken being able to move that behind, I'm bringing myself back to the times like where I was running 140, 160, 180 grots. And that wall of grots is just impossible to remove. It's just an absolute pain in the backside to get through 160 grots, and then you can regenerate them, right? So if I took a Kraken Eater, run that up, grab an objective, almost like football, pass it, or soccer, kick it back, depending on which sports you like, and you pass it back behind the line of a grot, how hard it would be for an opponent to be able to take that off your big wall of grots that are regenerating coming back from the Loon Shrine, using Hand of Gork to throw things around, Fanatics to kind of block up screens and kind of delay your opponent. That to me is probably, I guess, for anyone who's thinking about building a Gargant or buying a Gargant, I guess the first question I have for you is what's the problem you're trying to solve? Obviously, if you want to, because it's bloody cool, then ignore me here. I'm thinking competitively. But if I'm thinking about building a Gargant, it's like, what am I lacking? What am I struggling with? Do I not have like a big monster? But why do I need a big monster? Is it because I'm struggling to hold an objective? Is it because that all of my army isn't fast, or I require synergies, or like there's something, right? I just need something to sit on the flank, soak it up an objective, protect my squishy heroes. Because I imagine if someone sees a Gargant on the table, they're going to attack that as opposed to, I don't know, a buff piece, your other monster. That might be, it's going to soak up a lot of damage. It's going to attract a lot of people's attention. So it might mean that your other stuff, the important stuff, will be unwounded, or people won't focus on as much. So you get a little bit more time with them. So depending on I guess, what you're trying to do, what the problem you're trying to solve, will then determine for a destruction player who has a choice which build they go with. That'd be my general thoughts. I mean, your Gatebreaker is probably really good as a damage dealer. Your Kraken Eater is probably good for an objective point of view. Your War Stomper, I'm not sure if I would take a War Stomper, just because the War Stomper seems to best work with the small Gargants. So as a mercenary, I don't know why I would bring in a War Stomper unless I had to. So like Chaos has to take the War Stomper. That's their only choice. But again, who knows what the FAQs are going to bring out, how things are going to change. That's just some early thoughts. Appreciate some positive thoughts between the army. Yeah, there has been a lot of negativity in the community, and there's probably a couple of things that have come up with the Gargants. Phil, I think, was it you, Phil, who mentioned the pricing? I think a lot of people were surprised on the pricing, and first off, Gargants have been delayed for months. There's a global pandemic. It is what it is, right? 40K was being released. 40K was always going to be the priority. So first off, the price seemed to throw some people off. I think some people were expecting, first off, the pricing for a Mega Gargant was more expensive than Techless, and Techless at the time has been the most expensive of our models. And if you look at the model of the intricacies of Techless versus a Gargant, I think some people were just surprised that this would cost as much as it did. So I think that kind of threw some people off. I think some people were disappointed that they expected some more models. But if anyone looked at their General's Handbook, any of the articles, they've been very, very clear that there's three I will be honest, I would have loved a female Gargant or some type of build. I love my Troll Hag with her big saggy titties. Absolutely hilarious. And I thought, some type of priest, some type of magic caster, some type of female Gargant could have been pretty cool. So I think a little bit of lack of diversity might have upset some people. And then finally, I think just from a damage dealing potential, I think maybe the narrative has made them sound like they would do more damage than they would. And I think when people looked at their War Scroll and went, wait a second, they don't seem to do as much damage as I expected. Now, is that our fault for expecting too much? Was that being oversold? It's a bit of combination. I think some people were really upset that they thought this was going to be, I don't know, the new Lumineth. They're going to be 4-0, 5-0, 4-in-1 style, just destroy your opponent. And I think some people just generally thought there was probably too much positivity as well. End of the day, we don't know. We don't know. It's a cool army. I think people are going to play it. Some people are going to find competitive ways to play it. Will it be winning tournaments 5-0 and creating bad experiences for your opponent, like a Petrifix Elite was at their prime? Probably not. Are they going to be at the bottom of the table struggling to play the game? No, I don't think so. I truly think they're going to be, on average, winning 3 games out of 5. And a skilled player, someone who practices, someone who reads their rules, someone who thinks about their list creation, can certainly win 4 games or even 5 games. So I don't think that it's not possible. But certainly I'm not going to put my models on the table and get 5 games automatically because my models are just way overpowered. They're stupidly priced and they're too cheap. I think you've got a nice little middle ground here. And that's me being honest. I'm not being paid by Games Workshop. I don't get any specialties. I literally paid for all this stuff. So which armies do you think will benefit from a mercenary Gargant? It's a good question, Jordan. I think I'm going to hold that response until I think I need to do a video. I think that needs to be a little video because I would really need to sit down and think about it. If I think about Chaos, for example, and let's say, does Khorne need a Mega Gargant? And what are my trade-offs? So I could take a Mega Gargant for 500 points, but that's almost 2 Bloodthirsters. And if I'm not taking 2 Bloodthirsters, that means that I'm denying myself from battalions. It means that I'm denying myself from a whole bunch of synergies that occur, that happen in the army. If I put it into do I want to put that into, Slaanesh? Do I want to put it in like a Nurgle Force? What am I trading off? Am I better off taking a Great Unclean One or a Keeper of Secrets? So I think Chaos for me is a little bit of a struggle. I'm not sold that many armies would benefit. Maybe Beasts of Chaos, but even then I'm a bit, your Gorgon's all right, but I don't know, from a Chaos point of view, I'd be thinking about the Mercenary. Order, I mean Kraken Eater. Look, I'm making stuff up on the spot. I really need to think about this properly. Yeah, I need to think about this one properly. I think if I thought about the different armies and I think about, again, the trade-offs, from a Sylvaneth point of view, am I better off having an additional Spirit of Durthu, or that's points for Alariel that then can summon on some Kurnoth Hunters? From a Stormcast point of view, right. Yeah, let me think about that one. Let me come back to you. That's a good question. Hey, Sean, how are you? Good, sir. Did I buy 3 of the Mega Gargants? Not yet. I bought 2. And I replenished my small Gargant stock. But I am going to go pick up a 3rd one probably next week because it's pay week. So I'll go grab another one. But I'll probably build 1 of each for now, I think, just get a bit of a play style. I really don't want to have 2 of the same model. So Gatecrash is the unacceptable Gargant in Gloomspite because it matches the outfit. Yeah, I love it. Yeah. I'd love to see some conversions, people putting in, either double heads, whether it's going to be tapping in some of the Troggoth bits. There's probably some cool things you can do to, I was talking about this in the Discord, is what does a Gargant look like if it's from Hish and, Teclis has gotten a part of it, what does it look like from a Cities of Sigmar point of view? What does it look like from a Stormcast point of view? I think there's some cool modeling, converting opportunities. Thomas has started his Gits after Stormcast. Can't wait to paint the Mangler Squig. Mangler Squig's awesome. My advice, Thomas, to you is to sub-assemble. So don't glue the 2 Mangler Squigs together. Paint them separately and then join them up together at the end. and allow you to get to the underbelly and paint. There's a few pieces that are a bit hard to when you glue them in one go. King Broad, you are the second person in the last 24 hours to talk to me about King Broad. That's very cool. Am I going to continue my beginner's guide? I assume you're talking about introducing Age of Sigmar. Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And I'll also kick off from a content point of view. So by the way, tell me if you hear the scraping of, I'll try to clean these bits. And if it sounds too rubbish, please tell me to, I don't know, try to find a way not to irritate you guys. So from a content point of view, for anyone who's wondering what's coming up, this month for me, I wanted to focus on tournament organizing or event organizing, because we are seeing events return. We are seeing a whole bunch of things a whole bunch of events starting to come up, whether they're small events, whether they're large events, depending on where you are in your community and how you're handling COVID and some of the challenges. So I wanted to get all the tournament organizers together, or the event organizers together, and discuss how they run events so that all of our tournament organizers and event organizers can have some resources to create a wonderful event when we all start coming back. So I had a discussion the other week with Clint about players packs. Tomorrow I have a discussion with a fine gentleman by the name of Jonathan, who runs a start collecting tournament. And last year he had something like 70 players in Canada, all based around start collecting box. And I've heard it's very, very popular. So if you play at a local game store or like a slow grow league, trying to encourage people to build their first armies, start collecting is a wonderful way. And I want to discuss that. I've got Mitzi and Jimbo coming up to talk about their narrative events. So I know narrative events are something that people are more and more interested in. You can't see my arm. I'm going to move my arm. So I'm going to talk to Mitzi and Jimbo, who run an event called Raw, or Realms at War. It's been going on for about 5 years now, probably the best narrative events in the world. They are just amazing. So I talked about narrative event gaming. And I've also got Gabe, who runs this event in Australia called the Runax Team Tournament. So it's a 4-on-4 tournament. So people build up teams of 4 and they compete, which is very, very cool. It's very, very interesting the way that you do the matchup process when you've got 4-man teams. And I talk about Gabe. I played at Gabe's event last year, so we'll talk about that structure. And I've got one more person talking about just generally one-on-one match play events. So that's the live stuff. What else have I got coming? I've got a discussion next week about the Troggoth rules. So you've got the new Troggoth rules coming from White Dwarf. So I'm going to discuss it with Stuart Hodges. If you've watched the troll video that I did in May, Stuart was my guest. He is absolutely mad about Trogs. So he'll talk to me about the Trog rules, and I'm trying to get the Squig rules back. So I'm trying to get that show back up. So wish me luck while I try to get the Squig rules. In all of that, then I'm going to record some more introduction videos. So you might have seen the video called What is a Command Point? And that was trying to hopefully teach you guys, or for anyone who's new and trying to a little bit confused about some of the terminology, I did a short little video called What is a Command Point? And I want to continue that. So I'll probably look to record some of those videos in the next week or so. So things like, there's a whole bunch of things that I think, just generally, one thing that the Gargants have thrown up for people is that I can take out a command model from your army, and people don't know what that terminology means. What is a command model? So just finding those little things. What is the meta? We talk about things like, castling, or we talk about, like just activations or deployment. There's a whole bunch of things I want to talk about. So long story short, there'll be a lot more beginner friendly content coming very soon. Mark my words. The next version of that video, by the way, I will talk about list building. So I'll talk about the war scrolls. I'll talk about, how to understand the different parts and start to build your own force. Jay thinks the Nighthaunt could benefit from the Gatebreaker. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it would offer some really cool damage. But then at the same time, you are sacrificing, say, some of the mortal wounds. You are sacrificing models coming from the underworld. So I think the question is that what does it give me? So I get 35 wounds and I get some damage. But what do I trade to get the model? And I think that's the question from a competitive point of view. And then is it already available, or is something similar already available to me? So am I better off taking 2 Bloodthirsters, 2 Gorgons? Am I better off taking a Dreadlord on Black Dragon? Am I better off, is there something like this that is inherently in my book? And what does it do? I think that's the question and I think that's why I'm stalling a little bit, because I would really need to think about all the different builds, and really think about what the Gargant brings to the table, if anything. So, wants to play cities, start the battle tome. The start collecting boxes are decent for cities, depending on how you're building. If you want to build a human force, then no, it's not very good. If you want to build the elves, yes. If you want to build dwarves, yes. Actually, if you want to build dwarves, it's probably excellent. And dwarves probably are the best build in cities right now, just because they got a bit of a points discount. Iron Drakes are pretty good, just generally. Dwarves are pretty good right now. Things like Tempest Eye probably, and even Hammerhall, they're probably quite strong at the moment compared to initially everyone was kind of talking about Hollow Heart. Have I done anything discussing the 2020 battle plans and some Tory pros? All right. Battle plans is something that I would like to talk to. I'm holding off a little bit just because I think by the time I get to it, General's Handbook will be close. And I'm a bit conscious as well of what Broken Realms might bring. But I think battle plans definitely, I should stop waving my scalpel around. I'm going to cut myself eventually. Yes, it is on the cards. When I'll get to that, I've got a few things that I want to get across first. But Harry, good point. Matt from Dubbo. All right, cool. I'm with you now. Hey, Tyler, good to have you, mate. I wish the spiders were more viable. I'm hoping, fingers crossed, there's a White Dwarf battalion coming your way. I don't know, but I mean, they've done Trogs, they've done Squigs. Surely, the next one is going to be spiders. They certainly could use a bit of love. And I was talking this on Twitter actually only yesterday. Give me some spider rules, then put all of those White Dwarf rules in a updated Gloomspite Gits book, and I think you'd have a lot of people happy. Yeah, maybe even change the Bad Moon slightly so that it's not useless in turn 1. It's really upsetting when the Bad Moon does nothing. Cities is a great book. Yeah, Duarden, the Duarden build definitely is a stronger build right now. So, but in saying all of that, I wouldn't be surprised in the current meta if Hollow Heart makes a return, for the primary reason that it is becoming harder to cast spells at the moment when you've got these supercasters like Teclis, like Lord Croak, like the Lord of Change. A lot of magical output that a lot of armies can't handle at the moment. So Hollow Heart has a natural defense to spells and endless spells, as well as has the ability to get, +5, +6, +7 to their spell casting. So if we do get into a magical dominance in their meta, I wouldn't be surprised to see Hollow Heart make a little return. Tyler's favorite sorceress on foot from she's pretty good. The Hurricanum under the Hollow Heart rules can be very tasty. So, but what are you all working on? What are you guys up to? I know for some people like me in Australia, it's currently Saturday lunchtime. I need to go wash the dog. I need to go to the gym. I need to go cook dinner eventually. I just finished my shopping at the farmer's market, so Weekly groceries are done. I do need to wash the dog though. For some of you, it's your Friday night, and I'm sure you're going to have sweet dreams about Gargants. And then obviously with the preview as well. So far I've clipped the body of a Gargant, and that's where we're up to. So we haven't. So if for 40 odd minutes with you guys, you don't get a lot done, but that is okay with me, because I would prefer to chat with you guys because you're all cool, hip people. So I'm going to let the questions kind of come through the chat while I just do a little bit of gluing. But yeah, I think generally I'm pretty excited to see where Gargants take the meta. I think there's going to be some very interesting builds. I think there's going to be some challenges, and I think, there's going to be some natural predators when it comes to the Gargants. I love the fact that it doesn't really play in the magic phase. It doesn't really play in certain phases. It just does what it says on the box, which can also be challenging as well, because you're not going to have the tools to handle certain opponents. But at the same time, I don't have to worry about techless auto casting spells and trying to unbind it, because I just don't have the ability. So let's focus on what I'm good at, which is running up, scoring objectives, and bashing my opponent. I've got all this done. The hand and head banners all on the left. That's awesome. Working on a prime. Absolutely love the prime. What a great model that prime is. I was looking at one of the new, is it the Catans? The Necron, one of the new Necron Satan, whatever they're called. Looks very prime-like, very, very techno, very, could be a very cool prime, potentially. But yeah, love the prime. Accidental cow pun. Love it. I really do want to have a cow battle. I want to battle. I want to do some battle cattle Lumineth against a Gargant. I want to see what I can do, what I can stuff in my pants, and how these big battles go. I think it's just monster trucks bashing around each other. So what rule book do I need to run my old school dwarves? Are they any good? What do they excel at? I've never played Age of Sigmar. I'm not really playing 40k. So good question. Very, very simply, your dwarves, your Dwarden, they're now named. They're now called the Dwarden, and so the only book that you will need is so first off, we have the General's Handbook, which is the book that everyone uses. It has our missions, it has our battle plans, it has a lot of our rules. So you'll need to pick that up regardless of which army you pick. But the book that you want, the codex equivalent for us, is called Cities of Sigmar. And if I think about the world that you're coming from, so if I think about Warhammer Fantasy Battles, you have, imagine the outcasts of the Empire, the Dwarves, the High Elves, the Wood Elves, the Dark Elves. Imagine all of them together in one book. Now, some of the units didn't make it. So some of the models that you have didn't come over into Age of Sigmar for whatever reason. But anyway, Cities of Sigmar has that combination. So things like your Hammerers, your Iron Drakes, your Longbeards. Tyler, pull me up if Longbeards aren't in there. Or they got renamed. You think like your Warding Kings, your Rune Lords, your Gyrocopters, all of that stuff is still there. Your Slayers didn't make it over. I think the Dwarden generally were okay, but Cities of Sigmar is where you'll be coming into. Should you be bringing over any of your Warhammer Fantasy Battles? Bretonia didn't make the cut, so there's no Bretonia. That's not to say that you can't convert or kit bash your models to be something in the army, and to represent something else. However, just generally, your dwarves are kind of all right. They kind of were okay with the cut. Gillian's excited about the Gloomspite. I have no interest in Grots, but super excited for the new rules. The Squigs, the Trogs, yeah, absolutely. I played with the Squig rules a couple of weeks ago. Ran a whole bunch of Bone Grots, ran a Colossal Squig, Mangler Squig. Very, very cool. Very, very cool. The ability to move, get a bit more consistency with the move. It's probably been one of the biggest gripes when it comes to squigs. But this is, it creates a whole lot of additional rules and being able to, I love it. I love it. And hopefully have a list discussion about it pretty soon. It's certainly overdue. Would I contemplate the wizard item in your Gargants? No, not at the moment. And the primary reason I wouldn't consider it is because it doesn't do what I need it to do. So right now, my biggest concern with Gargants is endless spells, specifically things like the Skaven Warp Lightning Vortex, things like Soul Snare Shackles, the things that restrict my movement and that can pin my base. And because Gargants can't fly, I can't get out of a smart player who pins my Gargant down. Literally can't move. It can't step over it. It can't move around it. You could literally pin a Gargant base. By the way, please, I would not recommend anyone goes out and builds a Soul Snare Shackle in their list right now just to handle Gargants. But going back to Jeff's question, the reason I wouldn't bring a wizard right now is because it allows me to cast and dispel. Cast and unbind, but it doesn't allow me to dispel an endless spell. So if there is already a spell on the table, that rule doesn't allow me to get rid of an endless spell, which is the primary reason that I would take a wizard in a Gargant faction, because otherwise endless spells are just going to be running all over. And like I said, potentially pinning down 500 points that I literally can't do anything about. So hopefully that will be clarified in the FAQ, that it does also count as for getting rid of endless spells. That's probably my biggest concern, and why currently I would not take the wizard item. Fat boys indeed, absolutely. Big boys in the house. I want to run this army against some Stonehorns. I want to see how it goes against the Battle Cattle. I want to see this against, well, I know how this will end with Grizzlegore. But I want to stuff some things in my pants. I want to have some big fights. I want to run this into Archeon. I want to go see how they go with Neferata. Neferata, also Marathi. I think it'd be a lot of fun. And I think after COVID, man, to be honest with you, maybe this is why I'm really drawn to it at the moment, is I was really competitive for a long time. Got to the Australian Masters, played really well, strived to do well, went overseas to compete. But I think over time, I've really enjoyed exploring armies, hanging out with you guys, playing with different armies, and the competitiveness has slightly dropped a little bit. Just because again, I want to put more time into my hobby, have a lot more fun. Don't just do 3 color minimum base just because I need to get it up for a tournament. Spend time converting, kit bashing, playing with armies that aren't at the top of the meta, just because I want to win an event. But anyway, the point is that during COVID, obviously we haven't had a lot of tournaments, and I just want to go out there, roll dice, have fun, mess around, certainly win. I want to win. Clearly, I want to win. But I think Gargants would just be that absolute nice introduction back into the hobby, playing some tournaments, messing about with mates, having a laugh. And I think that's ultimately where, when we all first started Age of Sigmar back in 2016, I think that was the big thing, is that we just had fun, a little bit beers and pretzel. It wasn't as complicated with the amount of rules that we currently have, and kind of Gargants satisfies that for me a little bit. I feel like that they might FAQ the Mega Gargants. Yeah, that's a really big one. I think it's weird that a Gargant can't move over. And the primary reason, if anyone's wondering why the Gargant gets trapped, is because there's no wound characteristic assigned to a endless spell. And because of that, it means that that because there's no wound characteristic, I can't move over it. So because I can't move over it, it means that my 500-point Gargant is going to be pinned. You can do that with Stonehorns, by the way. So if you have a problem with like a Stonehorn, for example, with Malign Sorcery removing things like the Thermal Rider Cloak, and certain builds used to have things like Flying Keepers of Secrets, Flying Stonehorns, and one of the easiest ways you could trap your opponent is put like the Soul Snare Shackles around a, pin it with the 3 points. And literally your Stonehorn wouldn't be able to move out, and the Gargant's not going to be able to move out. So for 40 points, it's a great investment. If you have a spare 40 points up your sleeve, the Soul Snare Shackles is good, or a consideration. Sons of Behemat are going to be big. Yeah, they are going to be big. I don't know how many people. I'll be curious to see how many people after the pricing, and I know as well some people got their orders delayed because of the coasters. So it'd be interesting to see how excited people are after these delays, after the price changes, after some of the negativity in the community. I think some of it was unwarranted. I think some of the over positivity was unwarranted. I think just generally it's an army. If you like it, you like it. You don't, you don't. I think I've seen some people kind of not interested in getting into the army just because of what they've seen online. My advice would be ignore people online. Look at the book, pick up the battle tome, watch some battle reports, listen to different people, form an opinion. If it sounds like it's an army for you, jump in. If it doesn't sound like it's an army for you, go find your hobby. Go find what excites you. It is what it is. Sons of Behemat are a faction, Michael says, where you will have fun whether you win or lose, just like Gits. You can absolutely do well with them. Absolutely, absolutely. There's there is no, where am I going with this? I think the worst thing that you want in an army is you don't want to turn up to a table and know that you're going to automatically lose. I think that's the key. There were at certain times throughout the Age of Sigmar career, we've had really, I wouldn't say unbeatable, but very hard opponents to win. You know, basically they rock up to the table and they automatically should probably be able to win 3 or 4 out of their 5 games. And there's been lots of them, whether it's been Caradron Overlords in their time, and when they had Barak Zilfin was at their peak. We had some certain Stormcast builds like the Warrior Brotherhood. We've had certain things like the Change Host in Tzeentch come up. Now, again, not to say that you can't beat a Change Host, but certainly by taking that build, you really put yourself in an incredible position to win 3 or 4 games purely based off the army and the rules as opposed to the playing. Gargants aren't going to be like that. They're going to be like a Stormcast. They're going to be like a Gits. They're going to be like majority of the armies that we have on the table. So again, I'm not trying to be positive. I'm not trying to be negative. They just are where they are. And I think that's okay. And hopefully through experience, through play style, through the meta shifting, I think the one big thing that these big boys really bring to the table is they have high rend. And there's not a lot of armies right now that can handle or deal as much damage through high rend. So when Tyrion comes, so that's the other side of the Lumineth book, is you've got Teclis coming out with his Realm Lords, but then you've got your Tyrion side. Who knows what Tyrion's going to bring to the table and what his elves are going to do. So maybe this is a lead in to some very high armor saved models that are coming. Or what's going to happen with Malarian or Malekith with the Shadow Elves. I don't imagine them to be high armor, but I imagine, basically what I'm saying is it's not super positive. It's not super negative. We're in the middle, and that's A-okay to me. It's too bad the Pegasus Knights were great. Pegasus Knights, if I was... Can't really bring... I mean, you might be able to convert... I've seen people use a Pegasus Knight as a Knight of Zeros. So that's a hero from Stormcast that is a nice little buff piece. you might be able to convert up your Pegasus Knight to be more like a gyrocopter. So I think Cities of Sigmar has really unlocked the converting and the kit bashing potential of grabbing parts, grabbing models and converting them up into your own world and your own theme. And I believe that you could probably find a place for your Pegasus Knights in Cities of Sigmar if you put a little bit of work into it. If you like Gargant, would you not watch Haywo's review of it? Sorry. If you like Gargant, would not watch Haywo's review of it. He tore into it largely from a rules perspective. Look, like I said, it is what it is. If you are interested in playing it, just do it. If you don't, that's okay. I think the best thing you can do is listen to all of the advice. Plastic Crack, Facehammer, Honest Wargamer, Warhammer Weekly, Haywo, Doom and Darkness, Rerolling Ones, 2+ Tough. There's been a whole bunch of people who have gotten early access to this book. Guerrilla Miniature Wargaming. Everyone. There's been a whole bunch of people who have gotten, I guess, advanced copies. And I guess if you are interested and you want to make an informed decision, go listen to both sides of the spectrum and find where you think is. And this is for everything. It's politics, it's religion, it's just general common sense. Don't just listen to one side of the argument. Listen to both, and find where you agree and disagree. And at least whatever you do, you're making an informed decision. So that'd be my advice. Go. Haywo comes in with the best intent. Go check him out. But if you are 100% wanting to play Gargants, there is some negative stuff there that might convince you otherwise. Water for ducks back. Looks like a solid Timmy army, vroom monster trucks. Yes. But if you play the objective, I would not 100% say it's a Timmy army. So I'm not willing to write that off just yet. 100%. Hell, I have more fun working on armies out of spite than popular opinion. Absolutely. Nothing that is a great motivator than spite. How many people have lost a whole bunch of weight after a divorce or a breakup just out of spite? Couldn't agree more there. Hey, Kara. Hey, catch me live. Love a channel, has helped in Old Fantasy Army. Awesome. Good to have you. And again, please, I said this at the top of the show, and I do please mention this. There is a Discord that is extremely active. There's over 700 people. I'm active. If you want to chat, if you want advice, if you want to get insights and talk lists, myself and there's so many people in the description. It doesn't cost you a cent. Be as active or as inactive as you want, but go check out the Discord if you want to chat. But I'm super happy to hear that you've come over from Fantasy as well as joined Cities of Sigmar. Kara, I've got to ask you though, how did you go with rebasing your army? There is a lot of fun having to go from squares to rounds. I'm glad I did it once. Never again. 200, 300, 400 models rebasing. Never go through that again. I hope they keep Tyrion blind. Who knows what Tyrion's going to do? I think a lot of people are excited about what Tyrion's going to bring to the table. And it's interesting that Lumineth only had one ally, which is the Deepkin. Bit weird if you ask me. I'm not sure why the Deepkin is allying with the dad that outcast them. But hey, what do I know? Maybe they had a good Father's Day reunion or something. But anyway, my point was going to be is you can imagine that Tyrion, who's the more of the I guess the War Master, the general within the Brotherhood, could bring some very interesting things to the table. Who knows what that's going to be? Jeff's in the Discord, and I am watching him rebase all of his Beasts of Chaos, so his best to gore is Ungore, and it is certainly something that you do once, you learn from it, and sometimes you just go, I'll just buy a new army. I'm not going to rebase my Skaven again. I'll just it is what it is. All right, so far what have we done, folks? We have we have a pants party. So we've got some legs, got a torso, join that up. They're quite big. What's really cool as well is you get a whole bunch of additional legs and arms as well. So you can see that in the book. I'll move the stuff. You can see they've got unique feet. So there's 2 different feet options. You've got a whole bunch of different head options, a whole bunch of arm options. I don't know if I'm going to do standard or if I'm going to also do a whole bunch of converting, but I don't know. I'm just going to have fun with it, to be honest. One thing I wanted to start doing is drawing upon some almost. I've got this idea, and I'm bringing to the table a bit of a Viking kind of feel. So I want my Gargants to come from the realm of fire. So they're going to come from Akshi, and I want them to be a bit Viking-esque. So I'm going to draw upon some Viking aesthetics, probably do a bit more green stuff, maybe do some more beards and some interesting Viking hairs, hairstyles and different things. So I think once I've built these models, I will then have to do a whole bunch of green stuff. So I'm going to look at the different kits and see where I can, I should probably do that first. Do the butt first. Yeah, that's better. Almost jumped a step. I'll come to the chat in a sec. Let me just quickly actually feel like I've done some hobby. Sweet. Oh. Perfect. All right. I can hold that. Look at the chat. Maybe the Marathi book is going to explain more. Absolutely. You've got the Broken Realms coming up, which is going to hopefully shake up the narrative a little bit. We don't know exactly. It's probably a more like 40K's Psychic Awakening. So I imagine there'll be some short stories, some narratives, some rules, maybe some models for a whole bunch of armies. So that might kick off before Christmas, or it might kick off after Christmas and lead us into the predicted 3rd edition of Age of Sigmar. So who knows? Kara has finished rebasing the Nurgle Masterpiece of Chaos. Still got Skaven to do. You are crazy. To go from Beast of Chaos and Skaven, you are a crazy person. Well done to you. Converting up the Vampire Coast themed cities for the first time, and all female. If you are on Twitter or in the Discord, I would love to see some of your female Dark Elf, Raging Heroes, Vampire Coast. I want to see that. So we did see in the Hammerhold Herald this week, we saw the Vampire Ladies as a bit of like an art poster. So sometimes they do that to troll us. Sometimes they do that because a release is coming. Who knows? There might be some Vampirates or some. There's been rumors of vampire pirates for a while, ever since like even the vampires of Saratosa from Warhammer Fantasy Battles. But maybe it's an Underworld's warband. Maybe there's a Warcry thing. Maybe it's an Age of Sigmar Soulbound, Soul Blight army. Who knows? But I'm all for vampires coming back. They do certainly. You can buy square to circle conversion trays, and you can even buy them individually, little circles that you just kind of slot your 20 mil bases, for example. So that certainly does. They are a little bit expensive in my opinion, but there are some converters out there. I like the mixed armies, Phil says, which is turning you towards cities. Yeah, absolutely. It's interesting because in Warhammer Fantasy Battles, the cities were very humans live with humans, dwarves live with dwarves. But if you come from the world of Dungeons and Dragons, you know that cities are populated with mixed races all over the world. Very rarely do you find a city that is just humans. You find dark elves, you find gnomes, you find halflings, you find dwarves, you find half dwarves, you find half orcs, and you get like I'm playing Baldur's Gate 3 at the moment, and you've got so many other so many different races. But where am I going with this is that Cities of Sigmar really did bring in the different races and kind of tap into that Dungeons and Dragons kind of feel of a mixed city. And it allows you to combine and convert and bring in your own narrative as well. So I've gone out and manipulated and kind of modified some of my elven stuff to be more human. So I've got the old there was an Empire hero, a Ice Queen by the name of, she was the Ice Queen as Kislev, and I've got her riding my Frost Phoenix because I do love the Empire. So, but I see some cool people converting up there, using halflings, using just so many cool things you can do. Even things like your Hurricanum or a Luminarch. Again, making them feel more wood elfy, more high elfy, more dark elfy, whatever theme most appeals to you. Do you. How are we going with time? Alrighty. So I will probably only be on here for another probably another 10 minutes. So I got to go take the dog. I got to wash the dog and then take the dog for a walk and go do some things productively. Go hit the gym before I wrap up the day. But so far, what have we done? We have built. Actually, it's probably not bad progress. Actually, so if I look at the book. If I look at the Mega Gargant, so we've done the frame. So we put the legs together. Not bad. I haven't done this little leg thing. It's a very little intricate thing. I'll do that. I don't have to do that right now. We've done the belly. Got we got the chest kind of connected, and then from here, that's where we can either go out and build the Kraken, build the War Stomper, or we go out and also then build the Gatebreaker. So which is really cool because now I can just keep that. For some of these, I've realized that potentially a sub-assembly, so maybe not gluing everything together. I think the Kraken Eater, for example, if you look at the sack, I'd probably paint the sack separately. What type of dog do I have? Good distraction there, Phil. No. So my dog is a cattle dog, an Australian cattle dog crossed with a American Staffy. So he's a little unit, but I love him to death. He's very funny, and he's probably really appreciated me working from home during COVID. Being Staffies are very people orientated, so they love nothing more than hanging out and just he'll come sit right next to me on a meeting, and he'll like snore under my microphone, which is adorable, but also when you're trying to be a professional, it's a bit hard when you got a snoring dog and you're trying to run a meeting. Or it'll get a little bit windy, so he'll kind of hide under my desk and like nudge me and stuff. But no, I absolutely love dogs. I love animals in general. And he needs a bath. It's actually getting quite warm today, so I need to give him a bath and then take him for a walk so he can dry off. But if you all have, so I'll probably wrap up in about 5 minutes time. So if you have any questions, anything you want to discuss either about the channel, any ideas you want to bring to the table, anything that you want to think about, again, if you didn't catch this live or you want to have a conversation about painting, you want to talk about painting, you want to talk about list building, you want to talk about whatever. Again, I highly recommend jumping into this Discord. The Discord link is below. And we share pictures of dogs and cats and memes, and set up a Discord channel actually the other day where people can kind of share photos of the world. And it's really interesting to see where people live, what people do for their jobs, what people their holiday sites, people are very interesting. And I think that's probably one thing that has been very fortunate, just seeing all of you guys and seeing your world and seeing what you get up to and seeing the differences, but also the commonality between us all. And I think it's been very insightful. And I've highly enjoyed it. Kara's just joined the Discord, put up the Gorgon in the showcase. Hell yes. I will go check that out. I got to go run the bath, but I will go check those photos out when I'm running the bath. That's awesome. Thank you, Kara. That's awesome. Matt is working on his first mini, the Maggotkin of Nurgle. Start collecting box. Good work. Good choice. And the one thing I love about Nurgle is very forgiving. So given that Nurgle is, disgusting and bloated and pussy and it's not very pristine, it means that you can make mistakes, you can mess up, you can do funky colors. Because again, when something is decaying, when something is getting bloated and pussy and bloody and, disgusting, it allows you to do some very fun, cool schemes. But also if you mess up, who cares? Put a bit of blood there, put a bit of pus there, put a bit of like rust, whatever. Jeff thinks that your Gorgon is impressive, so I need to go check that out. That's very cool. Nature photography, you say? We certainly do show our worlds off. I think Autumn recently, one of our community members, goes on like wonderful bushwalks and takes photos. I live near the bush, so I'll take up photos of nature, but also like I was at the farmer's market this morning, so I took photos of the farmer's market. But either way, it's just an opportunity for us to share what our world is like. And for me, it's very interesting. It's probably one of the reasons why I love traveling, just to see how do people live? What do they get up to? What do they enjoy doing? So again, that's an opportunity if you'd like to. If I'm going to try streaming hobby content, should I announce it to the Discord? You can. Message me. We'll talk about it. But that's the other thing as well, is that we people just jump on. There's like an audio chat and a video chat as well. So people sometimes just like, hey man, I'm bored. I'm gonna do some hobby. Who wants to join me? And people just jump online and they'll chat. And you get talking to people all over the world. So again, never hobby alone. Never hobby alone. That should be a t-shirt. Put that on a shirt. Never hobby alone. Hey, Davis. Good to see you, man. Got a logo. Oh, very nice. Very nice. What I see your Twitter change recently to Cage of Sigmar. I like it. Still got to fight you for the belt. Although you will kick my ass. So if anyone doesn't know what I'm talking about, Davis is an MMA fighter. I do prod him a little bit, but he would actually kick the crap out of me. But hey, I will talk shit until that point. That's awesome. Harry, where do people play in Sydney? Happy to direct you if you'd like to play. I'm really lucky in Sydney that we have our COVID strategy in Sydney is suppression as opposed to, I guess, elimination is what a lot of cities are doing. I think for the biggest city in Australia, being such an economic, I guess, key, ports and travel and just industry, we're all about suppression. So very few of our places are actually closed. Obviously, COVID safe and all that. We have a lot of strict rules, but we do have some gaming spaces. So happy to share with you, Harry, some of the local stores or even some of the local venues that we play at. If you want to hang out. Final questions, folks. Put in your final questions in the chat. And then I'm going to log off and go walk that dog and wash that dog. He is an inside dog, and he sleeps right next to me, so I don't want a stinky dog. Matt, can you suggest some of the first pieces of terrain I should DUI or purchase for the basic battle plans? So first off, I imagine, because you were playing Nurgle, right? So from a terrain point of view, if I was gonna build my own table at home, I guess there's a couple of things to consider. So what type of table do I want? Is it just for me? Is it for my friends? How much do I want to spend? 3D printing has made terrain very affordable. So there are a lot of people out there who do commission 3D printing, and that 3D printing, you can get a lot of really cool terrain that people can print for you at it's much more affordable, but also much more maybe in line with some thematics. I wish Games Workshop would actually bring out more terrain, because a lot of the terrain out there is very, very restrictive. You can't build out a full table. So I would highly recommend find a commission terrain person. If you're in America, I could happily refer you to somebody that I would recommend. Either way, 3D printing would be the way to go. If you're on the cheap, if you don't have a lot of money to spend, you can go buy foam. You can go buy the insulation foam, depending on which country you're in. Some people have pink foam, some people have blue foam, some people have yellow foam. But you can just carve it up with a kitchen knife, just a simple blade, make some hills, make some stones, make some interesting thematical terrain. And that would cost you like $20, like not much. So depending on how much you want to spend and what type of, again, jump in the Discord. I'm happy to make some recommendations if you want. Dave's been a wild, busy working and smack talking. Yep. Mate, yeah, so definitely, I want to see this AOS tournament. I do want a shot at the belt, though. G'day, cold shoulder, morning, evening, afternoon from Canada. Shift work. Oh man, I'm gonna log off soon. I've got to go. Wash the dog. Hopefully, there's plenty of stuff you can watch. And if you're on shift tomorrow, we'll have a discussion about start collecting tournaments. So yeah. I'm losing my voice as well. What's going on? Drink some coffee. What's going on? Phil, thanks for hanging out, man. It's been great. Any final questions? And Harry pointed out the last point as well, is battle mats as well. Spray foam. That's another really good point, Harry. You can go to your local hardware store where you can buy foam in a can. And you can just usually you do it to fill in gaps. If you, I don't know, cut out a part of a wall, you're trying to block up where a mouse or some type of creature might have been in your house. But you can use it to spray out and make terrain as well. Put it on a bit of what's it called, baking paper, like that non-stick paper. Just spray some random rock formations, and there you go. Boom, $20, $10, and you got yourself some very cheap terrain to kickstart us off. Cold shoulder, mate. Work hard for the money for those gargants. I think we're going to end this stream. I hope you've all enjoyed the hangout. It was lovely to hang out. I'm glad to be doing more of these more often. I'm going to be continuing to build gargants. I'm going to be recording some stuff, so keep an eye out. Hopefully we're putting out some more videos pretty soon. I've got a whole bunch of live shows over the next couple of weeks. Just got probably 1 or 2 a week. I've got armies on parade. Oh, probably the other thing as well is I'm building an armies on parade board. So it's still a bit of a secret at the moment. It is Gargant themed. So I'll be not only building up a Gargant army for my first Gargant tournament at the end of November, but I'll also be entering armies on parade. So that is a pretty exciting little opportunity to build at a 2x2 display board and tell a story about my army. So keep an eye out on the Discord and on Twitter, and I'll share more photos of that as I keep building. But that was all. Kara, thank you for keeping me entertained. Thank you all for keeping me entertained. I hope you enjoyed this. And I will chat to you all again very, very soon. I hope you all have an awesome weekend, and go the Gargants. All right, I'm going to hit off. See you guys. Thanks, everybody. Have a good rest of your day.